Hi friends, we know what is checkmate, a position where the king is under direct attack and cannot escape from the opponent's pieces. In this video, we are going to see checkmate patterns. By patterns, I refer to a particular arrangement of the pieces that deliver a checkmate. Let us start with back rank mate. It is quite familiar. We have seen it here in a few videos. Back rank mate is when a king gets trapped behind its own pawn shield and gets mated by the opponent's queen or rook. Look at the setup here. White plays rook d8 checkmate. The king cannot escape by g7 as the white bishop on a1 is controlling it. This is a typical example of back rank mate. Sometimes your own pawn shield can work against you. So an escape option for black could have been moving your h or f pawn in the 6th rank so that black's king can escape. Next is scholar's mate. Scholar's mate is a common checkmate pattern amongst beginners. It is also referred as 4-move mate. I will show you scholar mate on the board, which is also called as 4-move mate because e4, e5, bishop to c4, knight to c6, queen to h5, knight to f6, queen into f7 checkmate. If you notice here, this is a 4-move mate. The escape option here would have been moving the g7 pawn to g6 instead of the knight. Next is blind swine mate. It demonstrates the power of two connected rooks on the 7th rank. This is more or less similar to the battery tactics. Look at the setup here. White plays rook g7 check. The only option for black is to move the king to h8. Then white plays rook c, c7, knight to d7, rook into d7, rook f7, rook into f7. Whatever black plays now, there will be no escape from the threat. Rook h7 check, king to g8, then the white rook will come here and that is a checkmate. So this illustrates the power of two rooks on the 7th rank. An interesting fact about blind swine is that this term was used by a Polish grandmaster, David Janowski, to refer the rook pair on the opponent's 2nd rank and their power to devour anything indiscriminately. Look at the setup here. I am going to explain legal's mate or legal's trap. Here, white plays knight into e5. Here, if black thinks this is a blunder and capture the white queen, then white will play bishop into f7 check, forcing black to move his king to e7. Then white will play knight d5 checkmate. The idea to move a pinned piece is not common. Also, this move shows the power of sacrifice. Next is corner mate. As the name suggests, this is a checkmate pattern against the enemy king trapped in the corner. This checkmate pattern is executed by the rook-knight pair. Look at the setup here. Black plays queen into f1 check. The purpose of this move is to remove the defender of the f2 square. The only option for white is to capture the queen with the bishop. And then black plays knight f2 checkmate. The rook is blocking the g file. This is an example of corner mate because the king is trapped in the corner. Next is h-file mate. A fairly common attacking method in chess is destroying the pawn shield in front of the enemy king. An open h-file mostly results in checkmate. Look at the setup here. White plays rook into g6 check. If black captures the rook with the pawn, then white plays rook h8 checkmate. The king cannot capture the rook as the bishop is protecting it. Or I will show you another variation. That is rook into g6, rook g7, rook into g7 check, king h8, rook into h7 checkmate. The h-file mate is not just a checkmate pattern but also helps enabling execution of other checkmate patterns. Next is hook mate. Hook mate is a useful checkmate pattern that demonstrates optimal coordination between the rook and the knight. Look at the setup here. It is white to move. White promotes here, but not as a queen, but as a knight. This is termed as under promotion. Now this is check. But instead of promoting to a knight, if white had promoted to a queen, then black will draw the game by perpetual check. I have explained perpetual check in my previous videos. So now it is black's move and black king will go to g8 or h8. Now white plays knight to g6 check. This is a discovered attack that prepares for a checkmate on the next move. Now black has two options. If the king goes to h7, then white plays rook h8 checkmate. But if black comes to f7, then rook f8 checkmate. Now let us see suffocation mate. Suffocation mate is an example of bishop and knight checkmate. The knight checks the king where the bishop suffocates him. Look at the setup here. The black queen on c7 is protecting the e7 square, so the knight cannot come there. So here we can play rook to g3 check. The only option for black is to capture the rook. Here the queen will have to move away. Now knight to e7 checkmate. The knight checks the king while the bishop suffocates him. Understanding checkmate patterns helps you in the end games. Hope I have explained it clearly. Thank you.